Alrighty guys, so today's arm day. Gone ahead and started off with the easy bar curls with the cable attachment. Started at 20 pounds, and then 30, 40, 50. Now I've got 60 on here for our last set of these. Each set's been 15 reps each. So let's go ahead and knock out our next set here. And then we'll go ahead and move on to the next bicep movement. Man, oh man. Those are definitely freaking hard. Got a good pump starting. Got them little baby bicep bangs coming in. Yeah. Can't complain about that. Arms starting to feel a little more shapely. Biceps for me take a long time to grow. They are a very slow growing muscle for me. But as long as we stay consistent, they'll get bigger. Alrighty guys, so we're working on incline dumbbell curls. I've started with 5 pounds. I've worked up to 25 pounds, 15 reps a set. Biceps are definitely feeling it. It's awesome. So let's go ahead and hit this next set here. One thing to keep in note when I like to do these, I like to get my pinky all the way down into the face of the dumbbell. So when I bring my hands down to my sides with these and I rotate them out, the weight automatically wants to roll the weight outwards away from my body. And it puts a lot of extra tension onto the outside of the bicep. Oh. 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 Woo. So, those are brutal. These will put a lot of size on your arm and a quickness. If you have not been doing these and your arm development and strength has kind of plateaued and hasn't made any progress in a while, slot these into one of your curl movements that you've been doing as a replacement, and you will see some arm growth. Basically, I'd say within like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you're going to notice a large difference in the way your biceps are looking. So just make sure you're putting real effort into it. Make sure you're taking these sets to basically near failure with a reasonable weight, and just keep at these things. You will put some growth on. So this is probably, it's definitely one of my favorite, like top 3 exercises for stimulating some real growth on the biceps. So I think these are very good for a very nice controlled, slow time under tension movement that you can load fairly decently with the dumbbells, and make sure your arms are growing equally to each other because they're isolated. And it's up there. It's also a great freaking pump. But with that, we'll go ahead and move on to the next bicep movement. All right, so our third bicep movement, it's easy curl bar, but palms down. So we do this pronated. We started off with just the bar, 15 reps, so 25 pounds. Then we went 45, 65, 85, Now we've got 105 pounds on here. So, I don't know if I could do a full 15 at 105 yet. We haven't tried this weight for complete set, but I was able to finish out 85 and it still felt extremely strong. I'm sure these won't be per se like technically clean reps. There might be a little swinging to it, but as long as we're getting them up and then controlling that eccentric going down, which is where most growth is going to be made anyways, the getting it out of that bottom ain't no big deal. I will go ahead and keep that all day long as we can control the rest of the rep. So let's go ahead and get these guys going here. Oh, I'm freaking drooling. So I really enjoy doing these because you can load these super heavy on this bar. Ooh. Well, that's all we got. Those last 4 were just kipped up to negatives for 9 through 12. First 8 were pretty solid reps. I did kip them a little bit, but it was mostly all just contracting and bringing that weight up. But we definitely don't have 3 more in us for that. That is for sure. But Jesus, the forearms are freaking blowing up off of those things. So, if you are looking to get some forearm growth for the brachialis and really get this bottom section of your bicep filled up, because the brachialis crosses the elbow joint and connects back here, it is really going to bring a lot of thickness to this bottom section of your bicep when you hit these things palms down. So, next movement we're going to go ahead and go into is a close grip, palms towards me, pull down, but I'm focusing all of that stress with the bicep. So that way I can really get a big overload on it. It's basically like doing chin-ups, but you're focusing on that bicep contraction. And it's another great movement to get a lot of just sheer load onto the biceps. So I like to get stretched out here, just like we're going to try to do a lat pull down, but instead all I'm doing is focusing on contracting the biceps and like pulling into the elbows. So it loads just the biceps. Ooh. Woo! Man. Those right there, you will feel the biggest contraction through the peak of your biceps doing this style of curl than what I can get doing basically anything else other than like a concentration curl. So dumbbell concentrations, I could get that same contraction and feeling, just I can't get the same type of load on it. So these are way more loadable if you're looking for like a real heavy progressive type of workout that you can get to hit that like contraction and feeling in the bicep. Otherwise, if you're just looking to hit that easily under a lot less load, but not quite as progressible, concentration curls are a great variation of that. Just after a while of doing concentration curls, my elbows kind of hurt. As to where with these, I never get any elbow pain from them, no matter how heavy I get with them. So that's why I kind of lean towards these a lot more than a concentration curl, but both very, very effective. So with that, that's our last bicep movement. Now we're going to go ahead and move into triceps. Alright, so our first tricep movement is overhead cable extensions. I like using this cool little 90-degree bar. It's real comfortable for my elbows, my hand placement, to be able to work up the weight pretty heavy with it being overhead. And it makes it really easy for me to keep my elbows tucked in and straight and not flaring them out all weird. So let's go ahead and get these things ripping here for their last set. I started at 20 pounds. Now we're at 70, 15 reps a set. Ooh. Woo. Boy, oh boy. So, if you guys are really trying to work this long head of the tricep, or the inside of it, these things will obliterate that long head. And getting your elbow up over your shoulder, all it's doing is lengthening this guy because it passes through the shoulder joint, which puts it in its furthest stretched position, which means you can get the most tension on it. If you can get the most tension on the muscle in a stretched position, it creates the most growth and the most load stimulus. So by doing that, when you have your arms stretched out here, that's what's going to make that big sweep that you see on those real big guys. The guys with the big giant arms. And it's also going to help develop this inside edge of the horseshoe here. So that's how you're going to get that fully developed tricep, is by making sure you're getting some sort of movement with that elbow up high. So this is probably my favorite way to target that muscle. There's a few different exercises you can do to really target that thing and overload it. Skull crushers is one of them. I throw them in occasionally, but like a cable variant of it. I don't really tend to do much like dumbbell skull crushers. The dumbbells get big and bulky and just awkward to use, and end up just kind of hitting the back of my head with it or the edge of the bench, and just gets annoying. If I do with the easy curl bar, I end up getting a lot of like wrist pain, and sometimes it really irritates my left shoulder or elbow, just from being torsioned specifically, like to where my elbows are kind of flared some from the easy curl bar. So those two variants of skull crushers are just not effective for me, so I just like the overhead cable tricep extensions. And I'll do it with this, I'll do it with the rope. And between those two variances, I can hit the long head wherever I'm trying to focus it at. Alright, so second tricep movement today is tricep extensions, but I'm hitting these with a supinated hand grip, so my palms are facing up to the sky. It forces my elbows in and to really track really straight up and down versus kind of out to the side like a tri press down, which we'll be doing next. But I just want to really focus that squeeze and contraction, and this helps me achieve that in this hand position. So we've gone ahead and started at 20 pounds, and we've gone ahead and worked our way up here. So let's hit these guys. Ugh. Woo. That's all she wrote for those. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch the tri press downs now, so we can get a nice big load on the triceps. And then we'll be on out of here once we finish those things up. All right, so we're finishing off here with a more traditional like tri press down versus a tri extension. So let's go ahead and get these things knocked out. We're shooting for at least 10 here. If we can get to 15, that'll be freaking awesome. But my triceps are feeling cooked. Oh, that's all they've got. They are freaking dying. Whew. Boy, oh boy. They are pumped up though. So basically, the tri press downs I don't really do very often. It puts a lot of load in my elbows, and I get a lot of shoulder flexion, and I can't really isolate it very well. But today, felt like throwing them in. But I do normally do a normal like tricep extension instead of press downs. But the load you can get on them from doing a tri press down is really good. A better way to do that is more or less doing dips. You'll get nearly the same tricep activation as doing an actual press down. Obviously dips are a bit harder. You got to have some shoulder mobility in there. Your shoulders are sore, or your triceps are already worn out to the point of you can't lift your fat ass up anymore. You know, then you've got tri press downs, unless there's a dip machine or an assisted dip machine that you have available to you. But in my case, I don't. So at this point, when my triceps are blown out, my shoulders are kind of sore from already working out from chest day, shoulder day, and back day. I don't want to have to put that extra load on them trying to support my body weight because I'm a fucking fat ass. So it's a nice middle ground there. So, but with that, I'm gonna get on out of here. I'm gonna go do my evening cardio and then go eat. So make sure you guys are out there and you're working towards your goals. And most of all, just don't be a lazy fuck.